named Zlatan is who?
Ronaldo, the phenomenal.
Your favorite athlete that is not a soccer player is?
Muhammad Ali.
A world without Zlatan would be what?
Nothing to enjoy.
And finally, if Zlatan were a superhero, who would you be?
He is himself now, so Zlatan.
Golic and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
So it all comes down to this. How will it play out? Are you kidding me? Oh, my! He's playing fantasy football with ESPN. Now Sundays are going to be even better because there's a big difference between just watching football and feeling football. ESPN Fantasy Football with IBM Watson. Feel the fantasy. Sign up now at ESPN.com.
The 25th ranked LSU Tigers face number 8 Miami. Coverage begins Sunday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Presented by Dr. Pepper.
Hi, Paul Feinbaum. The college football season is here, and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, joins the show, plus your phone calls.
I am the mouthpiece of the Florida Gators.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, Monday at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and the SEC Network.
Southeast Missouri's home for sports is SEMO ESPN, SEMOESPN.com, and the SEMO ESPN app. KGIR, Cape Girardeau, KMAO, Malden. This is a local sports center update from Southeast Missouri's ESPN Radio Network.
I'm Eric Shun. This sports center update is brought to you by Bertrand Law Firm. Visit TreyBertrand.com. It was a good weekend in Denver for the Cardinals, who took 2 of 3 from the Rockies, including Sunday's series finale by a score of 12-3. The Redbirds exploded for 6 runs in the first inning and cruised from there. That is their 9th straight series victory. First baseman Matt Carpenter tied a major league record, cracking 4 doubles. He is the 42nd player in history to reach that milestone and the first Cardinal to do it since Joe Medwick all the way back in 1937, 81 years ago. Rookie Tyler O'Neill touched off his 6th home run of the season. O'Neill finished with 2 RBIs, as did Carpenter, Harrison Bader, and the winning pitcher, Austin Gomber. The victory keeps the Cards 4 games back in the NL Central. The Cubs have won 5 in a row, by the way. St. Louis is still number 1 in the wild card race. Today's an off day. The Pirates come to Busch for a 3-game set tomorrow. The SEMO volleyball team opened its season by posting 3 straight sweeps and capturing the title at the Troy Invitational down in Alabama. The 3-0 Red Hawks play a road match at the University of Evansville tomorrow.
Get sports updates on SEMO ESPN 1220 and 1470, SEMOESPN.com, and the SEMO ESPN app.
The SEMO District Fair. Tickets are on sale now for fantastic grandstand entertainment at the fair.
Saturday, September the 8th is the Auto Tire and Parts Napa Dual Demo Derby.
Sunday the 9th is Mauser Steel Heartland Barrel Racing.
Monday, September the 10th is the River Radio Heartland Idol Finals.
Tuesday the 11th is contemporary Christian artist Natalie Grant and Citizen Wang.
Wednesday, September the 12th, it's Diamond Rio.
Thursday the 13th is Granger Smith.
You can be my whole night, dancing in the headlights, fairy tale good as it gets.
And Friday and Saturday, the 14th and 15th at the grandstand, is the Hot Rod Truck and Tractor Pull. Visit SEMOFair.com for the information.
September 8th through 15th, the SEMO District Fair.
Attention business owners, this is your radio account manager that fortunately for you had an epiphany on how to share advertising info. Instead of cold calling hoping I won't catch you at a strange time where I'm told you're not in but I see you hiding under your desk, there's now a website you can browse on your own time. It shows what gets results, how radio works, who's listening and where. Check it out, because I do believe I just proved what works.
To talk to an advertising professional that knows how to help you, visit SEMOadvertising.com.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
More heat and humidity here for the start of the business week. Mix of clouds and sunshine today. Nothing more than a stray shower or storm expected today. We're into low 90s this afternoon, low to mid 70s tonight. Sunny, hot, and humid again Tuesday afternoon, highs in the low to mid 90s. And a chance for storms overnight Tuesday night and into Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ken Boone.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
This is a proud presentation of Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority. Live in the studio. It's time for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Live from Wings, etc. Hear the Coaches Show each week on SEMO ESPN 1220 and 1470. And also at SEMOESPN.com and the SEMO ESPN app. Also watch the Red Hawks Coaches Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. For the Red Hawks Coaches Show.
We are ready for college football season, and we are at Wings Etc. Restaurant in Cape Girardeau. It is our inaugural 2018 edition of the Red Hawks Coaches Show with Coach Tom Matukowicz. Coach Tuk is here. We'll be talking with the Red Hawks defensive coordinator. Bryce Saya is in the house enjoying some delicious food off of the Wings Etc. menu. And that gives us a chance to remind you that they have a full menu, not only including their award-winning jumbo wings for both dine-in and carry-out, but they have freshly made burgers, and you will love the burgers here at Wings Etc. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much, much more. If you're thinking appetizers, that appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle spears. So we invite you to stop by. If you're interested in lunch, their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. It's Wings Etc. And today and next week. By the way, it is Labor Day, but we will be here next Monday at 12 noon talking Red Hawks football. We'll recap the Red Hawks matchup with the Arkansas State Red Wolves, and we'll get you ready for the home opener, which is a week from Saturday against the Dayton Flyers. That'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff at Hawk Stadium. Much to get to, but let's welcome in the Red Hawks head coach, Tom Matukowicz. How are you, Coach?
I'm great. It's game week. It's, you know, if you're having a hard time your first opener, that's not good. So we're excited. It's a little surprising how hot it is. It kind of dipped down for us, and now we're back in these summer temps.
Boy, I tell you, I did a Jackson football game at Webster Groves on Friday night. At kickoff, it was 70 degrees. They mandate you take these water breaks. They were the quickest water breaks I've ever seen. Nobody needed a drink of water. 70 degrees on Friday, and then today you've got heat indexes approaching triple digits.
Right, yeah, it definitely heated up. I'm glad because we're going to play in it. You know, Saturday's going to be hot too. By kickoff, it may cool off for us, but we just need to make sure our kids are, you know, doing a great job with hydration all week long.
Year 5 for you as the head coach at Southeast Missouri State. Does it seem like it's year 5 already?
I don't know. I always say seasons of life, and it feels like this is home. It feels like this is where me and my family live, and like I'm deep off in it. You know, football-wise, it feels like the needle has moved in a lot of ways, and, yeah, you feel like you've had some traction and some stuff like that. So even preparations for this week was a little easier because you've done them quite a bit, you know, even with the coaches. So feel pretty comfortable.
When last we saw you, you had the full beard scenario working. Clean shaven, though. What's the story behind that?
I don't know. My wife lays out this is what she told me to wear today. She tells me how to shave. I mean, I don't.
Well, for a while, though, you said she liked the beard, though.
No, yeah, she's definitely on the beard train. You had to get it cut all the time. So you got a beard, like you have to trim it, and I was spending a lot of time at the barber that I didn't have.
It's a lot of maintenance time that you could be spending other places.
Yeah. So I think my wife likes it because it covered up a lot of my face. She didn't have to look at my whole face.
Well, that's Mike Rennick's philosophy. So, you know, there are people that subscribe to that theory.
Yeah.
All right, you're getting ready for Arkansas State University. These two teams have not played in football since 2003. I remember that game. We got attacked by these green grasshoppers. We're all over the press box window. They're flying all over the field. So it's been a long time since you've played Arkansas State in football. They are a 1A school or an FBS school. They have won the Sun Belt Conference 5 of the last 7 years. I mean, this is a really good program in the Sun Belt Conference. How did this game come about?
Well, this is a game I really wanted to play. and these things get way out. But this was one that Mark Allnut and I wanted to play. I remember Arkansas State a long time ago when I was at SIU in the early 2000s and stuff like that. And I think we even hold a season, or don't we hold the lead against them all time?
All time.
But Arkansas State didn't used to be Arkansas State, and I wanted a game that was close, that our fans and our donors could all go, but our families of our athletes could go, and I just want people to see what you could have. If you could get a bunch of like-minded people in alignment, because they didn't used to be Arkansas State at all, not even a little bit. Their facility, they didn't have anything. All of that was here in the last 15 years or so, and so I wanted everybody to be able to see that, and maybe we could dream like that, get stadium, get all the things that they have. I mean, we have just as many students. We got a better town. Like, why not?
I think Jonesboro is still a dry town. You can't even buy alcohol there. So at least
that's another reason to go pound them.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, so what's ironic is we both used to be the Indians. So when we would play them in every sport, and they play them in baseball on a home and home every year, and occasionally they'll play them in basketball. So there was always interaction between the two schools playing, especially baseball, and they were always the Indians.
Yeah.
And in 2005, SEMO made the change to Red Hawks. And the finalists were Red Hawks and Red Wolves, and then just a handful of years later, it was Arkansas State. The NCAA wanted to try and get away with all the Indian nicknames, so they went with Red Wolves. But I remember when they made the jump to Division 1A or FBS, they just barely had enough seating capacity to qualify to move up. Yeah. And now their stadium looks completely different. And, Coach, just a couple of years ago, we're driving down there for baseball, and all of a sudden I see this indoor practice facility that they've got in Jonesboro as well.
Yeah, they've really moved the needle, and they are the marquee program in the Sun Belt. And I know we'll probably talk about them later, but they have done a great job. They've had tremendous coaches go through there, and it's going to be a really fun matchup.
And I think people will recognize they had a 3-year stretch where they're winning titles. Hugh Freeze was the coach for a year, went to Ole Miss. Gus Malzahn was the head coach, went to Auburn. Then the next coach ends up at Boise State, and now their current coach has been there for just a little while. I mean, they have really, really run some not only talented coaches but talented athletes through that program.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. It's amazing what they've done in just a short amount of time. They don't have a long program history. It's all been pretty recent.
And very similar to Southeast, and I see exactly what you're saying, is they were in the same boat as the Red Hawks, and Here they are now, a successful team that is making bowl games year in and year out. One other note that we want to pass along, I thought this was really cool, and you being a former coach from SIU Carbondale, it was announced today that the Red Hawks and the Salukis, their football rivalry is now going to be named the War for the Wheel. And I had no idea about this. Now, when we say the wheel, it's the steering wheel for a ship.
Yeah.
And apparently the series, which started back in 1909, 1 year very early on in the rivalry, the two teams had to cross the Mississippi River by boat. 1 year, SIU's boat sunk, and the players had to swim to shore. I had never heard that story.
Yeah, I obviously didn't until we started, really researching everything, and it just felt right. And this is such a great game. You look through the history of all the highest attended games at Houck, it's with SIU. And so we're close. We're going to play. Let's go ahead and play for a trophy. A lot of teams do it, and that way you can, make a big deal about it. And I know Coach Hill and Coach Kill over there feel the same way. And so I think our kids will really enjoy that part.
How cool was it to see Jerry Kill come back to SIU?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a guy that loved it there. He bought a home there, and that was going to be his home forever. And he knows how to coach football, so I'm sure he's helping Coach Nick on the administration side well, too. So, no, I don't want him back there because he's probably helping him.
We'll talk with defensive coordinator Bryce Saya. He is here. That'll be in our second segment on the show. But we want to talk about the 2018 version of the Red Hawks. You've had a lot of turnover, Coach, and most notably, everyone wants to focus in on one position more often than not, and that's the quarterback position. So let's just talk about that right away, and we can talk about other things. But the transfer from Northern Illinois University, Daniel Santa Catarina, has won the starting job. Tell us about that battle for the starting quarterback position.
Well, we had really three guys that had come in and competed for the job. One guy that doesn't get mentioned much right now is Joe Pyle, but he got injured in the spring and has never really made it back. So it ended up being just really, truly a two-man race between Cooper and Santa. So, the thing that –
Is that what you call him? You guys call him Santa?
Yeah, I don't have time to go the whole name, or Daniel. But it's a race that started in January, and I think we felt pretty good about how it ended, and we're ready to roll.
All right, now he played at Northern Illinois University, started 4 games. Most notable start, winning at Nebraska. I mean, anytime you can go into Lincoln, Nebraska and beat the Cornhuskers, that's getting it done. And Daniel Santa Catarina was able to do that. When he came here, he had some shoulder issues. Tell us about the shoulder problems. I know he had a procedure. Where's he at physically right now?
Well, he's good to go. The first time he's going to get hit, though, is Arkansas State. So we'll see how that holds up, but we feel really good. He got hit in Nebraska, kind of got rolled on, and just thought it was just a sore shoulder or whatever. But really, it kind of affected his play. And then towards the end of the season, he ended up losing his starting position. And then when we got involved with recruiting him, we was like, hey, we need to get that thing looked at. He got the doctors for the Cubs that do all their shoulders to do the surgery, and so he had great care. And then when we got here. I'm going to butcher this, but I know Ben Fox and our trainers got him with what's the PT Select, or I think it's PT Select, but they worked him out and did an amazing job getting him right. And so really those guys are why he's healthy today.
It was a rotator cuff though, right?
Yeah, it was tearing a rotator cuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that that can be trouble, especially if you don't have someone who is experienced, and if you've got the Cubs doctor who takes care of their shoulders, you got a championship organization, Coach. Just telling you, world championship organization.
And I think the guy's name is Patton Gill. He's the one that really I want to mention him because he did a really good job at that. PT Select therapy or whatever they do.
One of the things you talked about toward the end of last season when you knew you were going to have to replace your senior quarterback, Jesse Hoskett, who was more of a pocket guy, you said, hey, I think we need to get a little bit more mobility at the quarterback position moving forward. How about Santa Catarina, Coach? Talk about his athleticism, and is he a guy that you can do a few things with his mobility?
Yeah, he's a dual threat guy for sure. That's really the profile we always wanted. Jesse kind of fell in our lap because felt like we needed to sign another one, but that's not really the profile. You need to be able to get out of the way sometimes, and so Santa's really good in the pocket. Like pressure doesn't bother him. He's really good at moving around. He's not a 4-5 guy. He's just really quick. And so that in his athleticism is really the deal. It's not necessarily that he's a vertical threat, even though he can run a little bit.
All right, let's talk about a quarterback that kind of has that sixth sense to be able to move around in the pocket, sense pressure. Is that something you can teach a guy, or just by playing you just see guys that just have it or they don't?
No, any skill can be improved if you work on it. Yeah. But the problem is you need live work at that. Practice isn't really realistic because you're not going to just tee off on a quarterback every time. So guys that have played some football, even with Joe Pyle and Sam, I wanted a veteran that's played in college football, and both of those guys had played a lot of snaps. So
you look at the offensive line, which is going to be blocking not only for Santa Catarina, but we'll talk about your All-American running back, Marquez Terry, coming up. That offensive line, some names back, some new names, but, of course, anchoring things is the All-American Drew Forbes, who will be starting his 23rd consecutive game on Saturday. It starts up front with your left tackle, Drew Forbes, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, if we could clone him or where they get his DNA and put it in every single person's drink, we should. I mean, this dude is not normal. He's probably our highest rated draft guy, and he's North County, so he's local. He loves the Red Hawks. He wants us to win just as bad as everybody else, and he's just, for him to be at your left tackle, you got to feel great about it.
I thought it was interesting. One of the media outlets that covers football championship subdivision football on a regular basis put out a list, and they went 1 through 99, and they gave the best player in the country that wears that number. And for number 76, they picked Drew Forbes of Southeast Missouri State. So nationally, he's kind of on some radars. I mean, he's an All-American, so obviously he's on radars. But, boy, this is a guy who's getting a lot of early season pub, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And he's handling it well. Just got to keep him healthy.
Let's talk about the rest of your offensive line, Coach. Just start from Drew Forbes and work your way right.
Well, I think the any O-line, it comes down to your center, and Lucas Orchard's a guy that's a little undersized, but, man, he's kind of the thing that makes it all go, because all the checks and there's just a lot of things that go through the center. We're a shotgun-only team, and so he's got to block this amazing player and snap it. And make all the calls, right? And so we feel great about him, and he's doing a great job. And a couple guys that will be new starters. I know our left guard, Elijah Shuela, he's a kid that comes from Iowa Western, who is just a dominant program. Really, really fortunate to be able to sign him. We feel great about him. Junior Pierre's a returning starter, and then Jimmy at our right tackle was here a year ago, but he was coming off a shoulder injury out of Fort Scott, and so he didn't play a lot. He was still kind of getting healthy, but he did play some, and so I think our athleticism there at both our tackles are as good as it's been since I've been here.
Coach Tom Matukowicz, it is the inaugural Red Hawks Coaches Show. The Red Hawks football team opens the season in Jonesboro, Arkansas, against Arkansas State at 6 o'clock on Saturday night, and that offensive line is not only going to be trying to protect the quarterback, but they're also going to be trying to open up running lanes for your All-American running back Marquez Terry, who led the OVC in yards per carry or in yards per game last year, over 1,000 yards rushing. How has Marquez looked, Coach?
He's looked great. Coach Napoli and his staff in the strength area has really helped him. He's put on 7 or 8 pounds, lowered his 40 a tenth. He really had a great offseason. He's just one of those guys. A lot of skilled players, especially if they're All-American, sometimes they have this huge ego, and that's not him, man. He is one of the most humble All-Americans I've ever been around, and he's not a real vocal guy, but he has a relationships with lots of guys on our team, and he's just a great teammate.
Terry listed, Coach, at 180, and then his backup, Mark Robinson, who transferred from Presbyterian, 6 feet 215. Talk about the comparison and contrasting styles between those two guys.
Well, the thing that makes them the same is they're both good. Then there's nothing else the same. They're just two different people, and Mark is actually like 229.
So he's a lot bigger than what he's listed
bigger now. So he's the power back, but he's just good. He's a good running back, and you're going to see some freshmen in there too at running back. We got some pretty good depth. Everybody want to know what we're going to do behind Quez with Cam Sanders leaving or whatever. And man, I tell you, I feel really good about it.
Jeremy McDowell is your new offensive coordinator. How big of a change is it for these guys, the offensive linemen, for a guy like Marquez Terry, and the wide receivers, the tight ends? How big of an adjustment and how big of a change is this offense from what you were running?
I mean, pretty different, yeah. I mean, basically you're going from a pro-style, NFL-style offense to more of a college Maction or Sunbelt, where you see just tempo, ball in the air a lot more. but we're going to still be physical. We're still going to run the ball. It's just out of different sets.
All right. What is would you say for guys or fans who have seen maybe the Oregon Ducks under Chip Kelly? You saw the real high tempo with Murray State the last few years. Is it somewhere in between? Is it similar to that? What are we going to see on Saturday?
I mean, it's going to look different each game. Sometimes go fast, sometimes you don't go fast. We're not like Murray. We're going to run the ball way more than that. So I'd say maybe a little more like Oregon.
Okay.
It gives the guys something to look at.
All right. With this new offense, how much are the tight ends going to play a factor?
They'll be big. They're in. That we base out of the one tight end, 3 receiver set, and so they're the big part of it in the blocking and receiving.
Not only do you have your top running back in Marquez Terry coming back, but you've got your top wide receiver coach, Christian Wilkerson, who will now be a junior. And, man, has he gotten better every year.
Yeah, physically he's really helped himself this summer. He's leaned up a little bit. He's always been a big, strong guy. And really got all the wideouts back from a year ago, so hopefully they're a little better. And then we sprinkled in a couple newcomers in there too, and I feel good about the depth.
All right, we recognize the name Christian Wilkerson, obviously. Richie Eisenhart is back, and Coach, he's listed as a starter, a guy that went from non-scholarship to a guy who earned a scholarship with this football program.
Yeah, I think he's like 38 years old. We'll have to check, but he's been playing football a really long time, and he's what makes coaching football fun. The guy, no one gave him a chance. He come in here and had to earn every single thing. He's going to walk out of here as a full scholarship starter, and so that's pretty fun. And one thing on offense, especially with the tempo, we'll play a lot of people, so we'll probably play 8 wideouts.
Another guy listed at 1 on the depth chart is Jarek Orr, junior college transfer from Northwestern Mississippi Community College. Tell us about Orr, 5'11", 195.
Yeah, both Jarek and Kobe Breyer are transfer guys, come from really good high school or junior college programs, and have done a really, really good job. Still picking up the system a little bit, but they got the spark. They're a little bit more after the catch. A little more like when they get it, they look like a running back at times. So hopefully they could be some of those big play guys.
Okay, with the style of offense that you're going to be running under Jeremy McDowell, do you get a lot more interest from guys at the skill positions on offense because of the style, because of how quick and fast-paced it is?
Yeah, it affects recruiting. It affects your recruiting model and stuff like that. And, all skill players want the ball, and that definitely has a small part in it, but obviously it still comes down to, is it a right fit for the kid money wise and all that. It's just a real tiny piece of it. We're not going to sign somebody strictly because of our offense, but it certainly isn't going to hurt us on some kids either.
Zach Smith, boy, he had his moments as a freshman last year, Coach, out of Louisville, and Zach Smith is back, and I'm sure bigger and stronger.
Yeah, he's put on some muscle, and he's a vertical threat guy. He can roll, and so I bet he has a great year.
All right, I do want to, before we bring on Coach Saya and talk about the defense, special teams was always a strength under your head coaching regime, and last year I know there were times where you were disappointed with the special teams.
Yeah, I mean that's saying it lightly. Like I wanted to freaking cut my wrist several games. So we're going to be in a lot of close games, and special teams has a huge play. You watch any NFL game, you watch any college football game, and 1 to 2 of those special teams plays can win you a game or cost you a game, and we got to get back to winning games like we had before. And I feel great about our return game. Like we got some outstanding returners. We bring our specialists back, both our punter and kicker back, and so we need to move that needle in a big way.
So do you feel a season of Division I football under the belts, the punting and the kicking game is probably going to take a step forward then?
Yeah, and just spend a year and a half working on it. Where just come in and start kicking. I can't remember the exact stat or something, but in fall camp, Nico, our field goal kicker, I think was 28 out of 30 of live kicks. And so he's really dialed in and locked in. Our punter's still a little inconsistent. We got to continue to dial in there, but we certainly got to make sure we don't get any kicks blocked like we did last year, and so we've been working on that since January.
And I know you had mentioned several times with Nico Letang just low pulse rate, a guy that very rarely gets excited. I remember Bjorn Borg, the great Swedish tennis star back in the 80s, was famous for just like having this low heart rate. Yeah. Letang falls into that category, right?
Yeah. He'll probably live to be 150. I don't think he gets too excited about anything.
And the return game, Coach, right now your kick returners are listed, and I know sometimes this is a fluid situation. Things change. Marquez Terry, Zach Smith, guys that can stretch the field.
Yeah, great with ball in their hand. They both have a gear. They're both good at running. Kickoff returns a little different. You don't have to have as great of ball skills as like a punt returner. So I think you'll see both of them versus A-State.
And one thing you and I talked about before the show got going, one of the changes this year on special teams is the ability for a kick returner to call a fair catch, and if he does inside the 25-yard line, a fair catch is made, and the ball will go to the 25 on any fair catch inside the 25. What were your thoughts on that, and how long had that kind of been talked about and in the works in college football?
Well, they're all about making the game safer, which they should be, and I'm a big fan of keeping my kids safe. But a lot of big collisions on kickoff, and so sometimes they'll sky a ball and force a guy to set in there. Where now he could fair catch it, get the ball on the 25, where if you sky and he catches on the 1, buddy, it doesn't matter. You got to go get what you can get, where now you can get the ball at the 25 without taking a huge hit.
And, this kind of affects you at times because you have utilized the sky kick when you've been kicking off.
Yeah, we've worked on it, really has tried to, just like any rule change, you try to be the best at adapting. Because we all adapt eventually. It's like targeting or any other new rules that come into college football. Everybody adapts, but you want to be the one that adapts the quickest and makes it a strength. Or strategically, we win because we did a better job with that.
So we've hit the offense and the special teams with Coach Took. We're going to take a timeout. We'll talk defense with the Red Hawks defensive coordinator. Bryce Saya is here. Don't forget, we are at Wings Etc. in Cape. Come on by. Their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. And, of course, their full menu featuring burgers, wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, and much, much more. Join us for lunch right here at Wings Etc. Quick timeout. Back to talk it over with the defensive coordinator. Bryce Saya will be our guest after this on SEMO ESPN.
Sports bar, Wings Etc. in Cape and Jackson beg to differ. They take their sports bar status seriously. Wings Etc. is the host of the SEMO Coaches Show every Monday from noon to 1. You can watch SEMO away games at Wings Etc. Plus, get lunch specials and daily specials like 69-cent wings on Monday, 69-cent rib tips on Tuesday, 59-cent shrimp on Wednesday, 69-cent wings on Thursday and Friday too. Plus, they've got free Wi-Fi and a full-service bar and craft beer. Wings Etc. The definition of a sports bar.
Attention business owners, this is your radio account manager. Unfortunately for you, had an epiphany on how to share advertising info. Instead of cold calling, hoping I won't catch you at a strange time where I'm told you're not in, but I see you hiding under your desk, there's now a website you can browse on your own time. It shows what gets results, how radio works, who's listening, and where. Check it out, because I do believe I just proved what works.
To talk to an advertising professional that knows how to help you, visit SEMOadvertising.com.
Hi, this is Mike Rennick with SEMO ESPN. Southeast Missouri is known for severe weather, and we want to make sure that you are prepared. We will keep you up to date on social media with the latest watches and warnings impacting your life. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay alert. Also, download the SEMO ESPN app at your app store. Listen at SEMOESPN.com when severe weather hits. When your power fails, your radio and mobile device will be there to keep you informed. Stay safe during severe weather with SEMO ESPN.
now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
More heat and humidity here for the start of the business week. Mix of clouds and sunshine today. Nothing more than a stray shower or storm expected today. We're into low 90s this afternoon, low to mid 70s tonight. Sunny, hot, and humid again Tuesday. Afternoon highs in the low to mid 90s. And a chance for storms overnight Tuesday night and into Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ken Boone.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Golick for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
It's the Red Hawks Football Coaches Show from Wings Etc. Restaurant. We're in Cape Girardeau, and just a programming note. Despite next Monday being Labor Day, we will be laboring right here, enjoying the tremendous smells and the tremendous menu here at Wings Etc. We will have a Coaches Show 12 noon back in the Cape Girardeau location. We'll be right here next Monday, and we invite you to join us to enjoy the award-winning jumbo wings that are very popular here at Wings Etc. And their entire menu includes, and if you've not tried their burgers, and they've got a lot of different combinations, make sure you try a burger. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. If you're coming for lunch, they've got their daily half-pound lunch specials that start at just $6.49. They've got food and drink specials throughout the week, including today, 69-cent wings every Monday here at Wings Etc. They have a terrific kids menu, so bring the entire family at Wings. They are open 7 days a week, and they are open late on the weekends because the games often run late, and we've got a lot of sports programming going on here. I see Nick Saban on a thing for Alabama with ESPN. We've got some live soccer. We've got NFL replays. We've got Major League Baseball. You want to watch the Cardinals series, which starts tomorrow at home against the Pittsburgh Pirates. You can watch the games in high def right here at Wings Etc. Red Hawks open the season Saturday at Arkansas State University. It'll be a 6 o'clock kickoff in Jonesboro, and we talked it over with Coach Took, talked a little offense and special teams. Now we're going to welcome in the defensive coordinator for the Red Hawks, Bryce Saya. What were you able to grab off of the menu, Coach?
Nothing yet.
Okay, so you're just eyeballing it at this point.
Yes, I'm just eyeballing, watching what everyone else is eating here.
All right, are you a wings guy? Do you lean toward burgers? Are you
I'm
in
crushing
salad
wings.
mode? Okay.
I'm crushing wings.
All right, do you prefer bone in, bone out, or either?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just get them in front of me.
All right, as long as it's chicken wing meat, you're good to go.
That's right.
All right, Coach Saya, make sure we get the wings ready. Once we're done taking up a little bit of his time, defensively, boy, what a year you guys had last year in OVC play, third in the league in scoring defense. I don't believe you allowed a rushing touchdown in the final 3 games of the regular season. I mean, that defense was playoff caliber last year. Would you agree?
I would agree, and you're only as good as your coaching staff and the players. So
I thought you were just going to say the coaching staff.
So obviously we had some good players. They're still fighting for roster spots right now in the NFL, but like I said, I got a great defensive staff and great players, so I'm lucky.
All right, now there are 3 former Red Hawks that are still on rosters in the National Football League. I know you're very close with those guys. Tell us who is where and what you think their chances are of kind of holding an NFL roster spot at this point.
So Kendall Donnerson is still active with the Packers. Chad Meredith is still active with the Detroit Lions, and Mike Ford is also with the Lions. They're still competing. They're still on, not the final roster yet. That's a couple weeks away, but they're still fighting, man. So if you make it this far through the OTAs, which is like spring ball in college, preseason, they're entering the final week of preseason and they're still active. So they're right in the mix, and I'm proud of them. They're representing us well.
Are you able, I don't know what kind of television system you've got set up or what you're able to do online. Are you able to tune in and watch Packer games? Are you able to watch the Detroit Lions?
So I've recorded every single preseason game they've played in, and I've watched the reps when I've had time. We're right in the middle of camps too. But they're doing well. Chad's been banged up a little bit, so he's seen some special team action last week, and I think he'll play almost the whole game this upcoming week. But the reps look good. They look like they belong. They don't look, they're right in the mix.
And what are the odds that Mike Ford lands with the Detroit Lions, where the owner's last name is Ford and the building they play in is named Ford?
I think he even got a Ford truck when he signed with them. So, there's a lot of momentum there. But their reps look good. Like I said, I'm proud of them. They're doing really well.
So those were free agent signings. Kendall Donnerson went in the draft to the Green Bay Packers. He's the first Red Hawk drafted since Eugene Amano was by the Tennessee Titans, an offensive line, and was the Remington Award winner when he was at Southeast Missouri State. How big is that, and what does that do for recruiting, Coach?
Well, it's huge. I mean, we can go out, and I can tell an outside linebacker right now we've had 2 in NFL camps, 1 drafted. There's some Power 5 schools that can't say that. So it's really boosted recruiting for the linebackers, for the defensive backs with Mike Ford. So it's obviously helped.
Does it also put you a little bit more on the radar for NFL scouts saying, hey, there's some talent starting to cycle through here. We got to get it. We got to keep an eye on the Redhawks.
Well, ever since Paul McRoberts came out, we've had scouts. We've already had 15 scouts, almost half the league through here this year already. So they're coming. Talent level is climbing here.
Well, it's great that these guys are in NFL camps, and you're very proud of that and their achievement. Everyone is certainly rooting that they grab roster spots. But the trickle-down is you've got to replace these guys on this year's team.
So last year we obviously had some outstanding players, okay, and that was kind of the identity of our defense. This year it's strength in numbers. I'm looking for 22 deep, not just 11, and I like our depth this year, and that's kind of what we are. It's about a pack of wolves, right? It's not about one wolf. So that's what it is this year. We've lost some great players. What I think we make up for it this year is, like I said, in our depth.
Well, if you just look at the defensive line, okay, if you break it down by line, linebackers, and secondary, is the defensive line the deepest of the groups?
There's no question. That's where it always starts up front, and that's where our depth's at.
Let's talk about some of that depth. First of all, Clarence Thornton coming back, a name that we recognize, and right behind him, Ryan Ochoa, guys that are familiar to this program.
We think that we have 9 up front that can play, all right, and 7 out of the 9 are battle-tested. The last couple of years, I think everyone realizes what we've done here defensively. Well, 7 of those kids helped win us games or compete. So and Clarence and Ochoa being a part of that, obviously.
And talk a little bit about this is year 5. From years 1 and 2, just about the physical size and strength of the guys that you're putting on the defensive line back then to what you're trotting on the field now, Coach.
Well, we inherited one of the worst defenses ever to play FCS football. It was down when we got here. And not only was the talent down, the scheme was completely different. The good thing about Coach Tuke being a defensive coach is he's let us, not me, he's let us recruit to the 3-4. So now we're 285 and up, and there's a lot of 300-pounders up front. Our guys on the edge are tall and long guys, just like Chad and KD. That's why they're in NFL camps. And we've got to recruit over the last 4 recruiting classes to what we believe in, and it's helped. And I think it's showing up.
And when you set a Division I school record for sacking the quarterback, where did most of that transpire last year? Why were you so good at getting to the opposing team's quarterback?
Talent. I mean, we had great players coming off the edge, obviously. But if you can stop the run, which is what we try to hang our hat on, and they're going to pass it, we can turn them loose and bring some pressure, which we did.
One thing, you go back and you look at this great run that Jacksonville State has been on, it's impressive. I mean, the winning streak that they've got in Ohio Valley Conference play. You just look at the games against the Redhawks the last couple of years. You gave Jacksonville State their by far toughest conference games.
Well, when we got into the league, I felt that we were intimidated by them. So obviously you have to win, but sometimes before winning comes, you got to stand up to people. And I felt like our first couple of years here, we were intimidated and we were physically dominated by them. And a couple of years ago when they came here and played us at home,
they lost their cool. You got in their heads, don't you think?
Well, sooner or later you got to stick up for yourself. And from that point on, we've had our respect in this conference. We have. We're not winning as many games as we need to, but hopefully that changes in the near future because us not being bullied, us not being physically dominated, those days are done. We're not standing for that anymore.
Well, 2 years ago when they came here, and they are coming back again this year, by the way, the amount of penalties that they took, and penalties, personal foul penalties where you clearly got under their skin, I think that was kind of a wake-up call for a lot of people.
Well, I think it was a wake-up call to them, and one thing I will give them credit for is they admitted it in the paper. SEMO has changed. They're not the same team. So, like I said, it takes a man to admit that, but I think everyone in the conference knows when we hit the field, get ready for a street fight because, not only are we going to try to win on the scoreboard, we're going to try to physically get after you too.
And if they don't throw a flag on Cam Sanders' kick return, you beat Jacksonville State here 2 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, those guys that wear the stripes are not my best buddies, to
I
be
understand. Coach Bryce Saya, he's the defensive coordinator here for the Redhawks, so you like the depth that you've got on the defensive line, and you certainly hope for health throughout the season, but now you've got to replace guys like Chad Meredith and Kendall Donnerson, but the good news is you've got your leading tackler back. Zach Hall will now be in his junior season. Talk about his progression, Coach, and the season that he put together as a sophomore last year.
Playing inside linebacker, I'm a coach's son. I've been around this game forever, and I've always believed a good inside linebacker is like a good running back. They either have a feel for it or they don't, and Zach just has it. Like Coach Tuke talked about Santa earlier. You either got it or you don't. Santa's got it. Our tailback's got it. Zach Hall's got it. But I've always felt like that when it comes to linebackers. You either have vision for it, a feel for it, or you don't. Zach's got it.
Outside linebacker Justin Swift, whose name we called a lot last year, has moved himself into the starting rotation.
Well, he deserves it. Chad got banged up last year. He stepped in. I mean, Chad is still on the NFL roster right now, so obviously Chad's a great player, okay? Swift came in and did it, man. He was he was an
productive. Impact player immediately. I know that you believe in your players. Did you think he would be impact that quickly?
Well, no, because he doesn't practice good. And that's the problem I've always had with the kid. Like, you got to practice good, or how am I going to put you on the field? Well, I kind of got forced to put him on the field, okay? And then he's so productive I couldn't take him off the field. But the secret was out then. I pulled him to the side, and I go, now I know you can do it. So now I demand you practice like that too.
After success, and he had a lot of success, Coach, have you seen better practices this year?
Yes, I have. Well, I'm not going to let it go the other way.
Sure.
So, yes, it's good. He's grown up. He is one of our leaders. He's a good kid, and he's a really good he's a good player.
DeMarcus Rogers, also listed at the will linebacker as the number one.
He the reps that he got, like I said, now I believe in rotating kids in and out. So he split reps last year, but the reps he got, he's active. He's very productive. He's a smart kid. He knows football. And I'm excited about him, too, now that he'll be getting most of the reps.
All right, Marcus Gorey at the other outside linebacker position. Tell us about Marcus.
So like we talked about Swift, he rotated in and out with Chad a little bit, and Gorey rotated in and out with Kendall. That's with the Packers right now. So all these guys got reps last year. That's why I believe in playing a lot of kids, because it should never be a bad drop-off, And he was productive last year. He was an all-conference player coming out of Fort Scott Community College, and he's twitchy. He's got some height and length. He can get after he's big, so he can stop the run, but he can rush a passer too.
Yeah, Gorey listed as your biggest linebacker, Coach, at 250 pounds. He's the biggest guy.
Well, that outside linebacker there that's usually into the boundary, he's kind of a mix between a DN / outside backer, so it fits him perfect. He is big.
And obviously, people always keep an eye on the local talent, and you've got one backing up your leading tackler, Zach Hall. Nick Thompson from Malden, now in his third season. He's made an impact as a special teams guy. Now we see him on the depth chart at linebacker.
He's going to play. I tell all these kids, if you're in the two deep, you're going to get some snaps on defense. Now, how many snaps they get, that's on them. How do you practice? Are you making plays? But Nick's made it, man. I'm proud of him. He's made it. He's going to help us, and he's a good kid. He believes in the Red Hawks, and he's a good player.
Tell us about his skill set, Coach. We saw that he dominated at Malden High School. This is Division I football, and now in his third season, he's got a chance to be on the field a little bit.
Well, he's a strong kid, and he's kind of a load. You're not going to run him over. He is a 3-4 inside linebacker or a 4-3 Mike linebacker. He's made for the middle. They usually go down when he hits them. So, and it's his time to shine.
All right. I know fans are going to be excited to see Nick Thompson out there. And another local guy who I know fans have been excited about, and that is Al Young, now in his third season, Coach. We know, ball skills, just athleticism. He is a tremendous athlete, maybe the best football player ever to play at Cape Central High School. He certainly has all the records. Year 3 for Al Young, and he's listed as the starting cornerback for this team. Tell us about the progression of Al Young.
Well, Al's grown up. He's put blinders on. He's not worried about what people are saying to the right or the left of him. He's focused. He's got laser focus right now, like we've always asked for him, we want from him. But Al Young believes right now. He's focused, and I think you're going to be seeing a lot of him. I think he's a playmaker. He always has been, but he's bought in now. He's so good. Do you play him on offense, return game, defensive back? Well, him and I and Coach Took, we've all came to agreement, and Al's the one who brought it up, so credit to him. Coach, just let me focus in on corner, and that's what I want to be. And ever since then, it's like all the pressure, everything is just lifted off of him, And he's a free spirit right now, and I'm excited about him.
Talk about his athleticism, his athletic ability, and his ball skills, Coach, because you see it at the high school level, and you say, okay, he's just the best football player on the field in any game that he plays in, but it's a big transition to go to Division I, and then it's in your hometown. There's even more pressure, and people are building the kid up. He hadn't even played a single college football game. It's not really fair, is it?
It's not fair to Al, and I think Al finally realizes now he doesn't need to listen to all that. I think he put a bunch of pressure on himself that wasn't needed. So I think he's blocked it out. He's even told people close to him, I'm listening to my coaches and my teammates, And Al, there'll be some people that test better than Al when it comes to a 40, a vertical, and all that. But there's not too many better when it comes to the game of football. There's not too many better than him at all. He's another guy like Zach, our quarterback. He has the it factor. He's going to make plays.
Yeah, and again, here I am. I don't want to put any pressure on the young man, but is this a guy that could impact a football game?
There's no question. I think he will. He knows we have his back. I'm excited about him, and I think this is a breakout year for him.
Al Young, good to hear that. The other corner, Coach, listed is Taj Jenkins, and he's got some snaps under his belt.
Yes, Taj is a kid. My dad's a retired football coach that moved down to Florida. So I've recruited that Tampa area where my father's at, and this is where Taj comes from, Tampa Jefferson High School, one of the best high schools in Central Florida. He's a guy that's kind of grinded his way into the starting lineup, and he deserves it. He's another kid with a high football IQ and really good ball skills. And he'll be playing. We really got 3 starters. Shabari Davis is also a starter too. My goal is to get 2 deep, but for sure have 3 players for 2 positions. So we play with 2 corners, right? And we really got 3 starters. Shabari Davis is in that mix too.
And the thing we've seen from Shabari Davis, playmaker. I mean, you can't always say that about cornerbacks, but Shamari Davis showed there are times when he has been a playmaker.
Well, he might be our best return man. I mean, every time the ball in his hand, something's happening. Whether it's the punt return versus Kansas in the opener, or we ended the year versus Murray State, he returns one down to the 5, right?
Right.
He is a playmaker.
And let's talk about your safeties. DJ Freeman at free, the strong safety by Darius Knighton.
I feel as good about our safeties as I've ever felt. The game is changing. You know, you basically have to play with all corners, cover guys, in what we do. You know, in the NFL, you can get by playing with 6'2", 220, but in college football is the tempo, and as much as the ball's in the air now, you got to have cover guys. And DJ and by Darius, if they're lucky enough to get into an NFL camp one day, you know, it might be as a corner. Like, that's the kind of cover skills that they have. So I'm very, very excited about them. DJ started at Wyoming, went to NEO, a junior college I recruit. Just a really, really good player, and B-Day's been with us. We shouldn't have redshirted B-Day. You know, B-Day's a redshirt sophomore right now. He should have played his first year here, but I'm glad now we redshirted him. But those two is we've had some good players now, but I have a lot of confidence in them.
All right, if you are looking at the game plan, Red Hawk fans are going to be making the trip down to Jonesboro. What are we going to see offensively from the Red Wolves?
They're the best offense we'll play all year. They're really, really good. And their tempo. So the first challenge is me getting the kids the call in time so I don't put the players in a bad spot, right? And then just lining up with your shoulder square, your eyes up, your feet set, and run to the football. That's it. This isn't a game you got to get too fancy, you know.
Does it help your defense that they go against your offense, which is now a tempo offense?
It does help. Yeah, we've gone, and that's why it's time to play. Like, we've gone against an offense like this. Now they're really, really good, so I'm not taking anything away from their offense. But schematically and tempo-wise, we've gone against it all spring, all preseason. It's time to play.
And guys are getting sick of hitting guys in the same uniforms, I'm sure.
I'm jealous of the basketball and baseball coaches. They get 111 games a year. We only get 11 guaranteed. Like, I'm ready to play, man.
Ready to go, and it's going to be Arkansas State, 6 o'clock in Jonesboro on Saturday. Great to catch up with you. I hope you'll join us again sometime this season.
Thanks, sir.
Great
no
to talk
problem.
to you.
Thank you.
All right, Bryce Saya did a great job. Thank you so much, Coach. Best of luck Saturday at Jonesboro, Arkansas. Coach Tuke will rejoin us. We'll wrap it up. Our inaugural 2018 Red Hawks Coaches Show. Don't forget, 6 o'clock kickoff coming up against Arkansas State Saturday night. Final segment from Wings Etc. coming up. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
The TV make a sports bar, Wings Etc. and Cape and Jackson beg to differ. They take their sports bar status seriously. Wings Etc. is the host of the SEMO Coaches Show every Monday from noon to 1. You can watch SEMO away games at Wings Etc. Plus, get lunch specials and daily specials like 69-cent wings on Monday, 69-cent rib tips on Tuesday, 59-cent shrimp on Wednesday, 69-cent wings on Thursday and Friday too. Plus, they've got free Wi-Fi and a full-service bar and craft beer. Wings Etc. The definition of a sports bar.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 2121 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 2121.
Have you tried that trendy new dating app? You can have months of frivolous fun with people who just love to play games. But if you're ready for something more grown-up, try the Match app. Over 30,000 new people a day are heading to Match for grown-up conversations that lead to great dates and beyond. Our listeners that go to Match.com/country will get 7 days free. 7 days to view photos and informative profiles to get a deeper sense of the people you'd like to meet. This free offer is only at Match.com/country. That's Match.com/country.
And now,
Your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
More heat and humidity here for the start of the business week. Mix of clouds and sunshine today. Nothing more than a stray shower or storm expected today. We're into low 90s this afternoon, low to mid 70s tonight. Sunny, hot, and humid again Tuesday afternoon, highs in the low to mid 90s, and a chance for storms overnight Tuesday night and into Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ken Boone.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. Restaurant in Cape Girardeau. And don't forget, just because it's Labor Day next Monday, we will be here at 12 noon. So please make plans. You're invited to join us for lunch here at the Cape Girardeau Wings Etc. location. Coach Tuke rejoins us. Boy, Coach Saya is passionate about what he does. He was terrific.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And just a short, quick story, but his father got me into coaching. I went to sign for his father. His father's a Hall of Fame football coach in Kansas. I went to play him, got injured, and he started my coaching career. And so Coach Saya and I then went on to a 4-year school and were student coaches together. So we were college roommates. So we always have to work together because we could run each other's career.
You guys have been together for a long time.
Yeah. And so, he's a coach's son, and he's all about ball, and he does a tremendous job, and I'm just really, really thankful for him, and I know all the Red Hawks are thankful for the investment and the work he does with our defense.
Want to let everybody know, if you are tuning in Red Hawk football and basketball this year, our change has been we are no longer on ESPN 92.9 FM, the home of Red Hawks football, Real Rock 99.3 FM. So log that in now, 99.3 FM. You can listen online at Real Rock 993.com, and they have a free app. Just go to your app store, go to the search box, type in Real Rock 99.3, and you can get the free download. It is a free app at the new home of Red Hawks athletics. Football and men's basketball is Real Rock 99.3 FM. It has great coverage, so it's going to be fun to debut. And we've been on Real Rock the last several years, but we've also had 92.9, well, it'll be Real Rock Solo. Real Rock has been the home of the Red Hawks for several years, but it's the solo home for Red Hawks football. And Coach, ESPN and the Ohio Valley Conference have announced that ESPN is going to start taking over all of the video production work for all of the Ohio Valley Conference schools, and that includes all home football, basketball, men and women's basketball games, and then various other sports at Southeast. ESPN will be in charge, and there will be a subscription fee to watch games on ESPN Plus. I think it's only $5.99 a month because I already subscribe. I watch things on ESPN Plus because it's just great content. But to have ESPN involved in every broadcast now, that's big.
It really is, and I think just educating the fan base that the OVC Digital Network no longer exists. And so when you hear that, just make sure you guys know that. You can still watch every game. And our parents and our alumni and all that, but it's through a different format. Anytime you can align yourself with a name brand like that, it's good for the league, and I'm excited about it.
Real quickly here, Coach, what do you expect to see from Arkansas State on Saturday?
Well, I think what makes them good on offense is their tempo. They run a bunch of plays. They have 4 of the 5 O-linemen back, their running back, their quarterback, several of their wideouts who are really big, and so it's just going to be a challenge. On defense, this is probably the best D-line we've seen in 5 years. Like, they're better than Missouri's. They're better than Memphis's. Like, their D-line can roll. So that's really the two main things on my mind of just, that's an issue, and we got to be able to handle that.
And it should be a good crowd, and I'm sure a lot of Red Hawk fans are going down. I mean, Jonesboro's 2.5 hours. I've driven it 1,000 times. I mean, it's not a bad drive at all.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, and I know people are even renting those party buses, and that's why we wanted to play this game. Even though it's an away game, it's it's a game that'll be fun. You don't get to do this much, so go enjoy it. It's going to be a great night. And, it'd be hard to mess it up.
I got to ask you, Jeremy McDowell was one of the greatest quarterbacks ever played at North County High School. He was the head coach there before he went on to college. His Raiders came to Cape Central and put a hurting on the Tigers. Did he talk anything about that? Was he at the game? I figured, boy, he's got to be there rooting for the Raiders on last Friday night.
We got NCAA rules, so we can't even go to a game till September, and you can only go to one game. So there's a bunch of rules. But no, he's watching film of Arkansas State and how we figuring out how we're going to block these D linemen.
And isn't it? Is it fun? What's it like breaking in a new offensive coordinator? And the cool thing for Red Hawk fans is they know Jeremy McDowell.
Yeah, I mean it's the number one storyline, and just he's done a great job. Feel blessed and fortunate that he's a part of the Red Hawks now, and I know he's excited. It's what makes college football awesome is you don't know what Saturday's going to look like. I mean, anybody get beat, anybody can win. Like Jacksonville State, my eyes are bleeding. They had 150 penalties, they had 90 penalty yardage at halftime. I would need my wife to hold me and feed me honey with buttermilk biscuits and tell me it's going to be okay if I was the head coach of that game.
Well, I didn't see it, but I read the recap. It was not good.
So you just got to do a great job and let it rip. But most importantly, have fun. Like they got all the pressure. They're writing us a big old fat check that somebody's doing something with on campus, right? We need to just go have a great time.
Going to be fun. Jonesboro, Arkansas, 6 o'clock on Saturday. Red Hawks kick it off against Arkansas State. First meeting since 2003. We'll see you in Jonesboro, Coach, and then back here next Monday. Good luck Saturday.
Thanks.
That is Coach Tom Matukowicz, and that'll do it for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Thanks to Dean Field, Mike Rennick on site here with River Radio. Thanks to Coach Bryce Saya for his time, the Red Hawks defensive coordinator. And again, you want to listen to the Red Hawk game coming up on Saturday, Real Rock 99.3 FM. We'll get you into the Stephen A. Smith Show straight ahead on ESPN Radio. And don't forget, we'll back here at Wings Etc. next Monday for another edition of the Coaches Show. So long, everybody.